Hey, Dan Beagleman here. One of the most instantly recognizable guitar riffs from the surf music genre in the 1960s is the Misirlou, as recorded by guitarist Dick Dale and the Dulltones. Dick Dale played Fender Stratocaster guitars, kind of like this, but of course an older model. And what was unusual, Dick Dale was a left-handed guitarist, so he bought left-handed guitars from Fender, left-handed Stratocasters. Now, of course, if you bought a left-handed Stratocaster, you'd be playing it this way, and of course, everything would be opposite. You'd have the low E string on top, high E string on the bottom. But what Dick Dale did was he flipped the strings around, and he had the high E string on top and the low E string on the bottom. So it was a left-handed Strat, played it like this, but again, the strings were just kind of flipped around. So it was high E string on top, low E string on the bottom. Kind of an unusual way to play. Two other guitar players I could think of that also played in unusual ways, left-handed guitarists. Albert King, the great blues guitar player, he played Gibson Flying Vs. He took a right-handed Gibson Flying V and flipped it and just left it as is. So also, like Dick Dale, he had his high E string on the top, low E string on the bottom. Albert King was known for, or one of the things he was known for, was a tremendous string bending and vibrato technique, one of the best ever. Now, because his high E string on top, when he would bend strings, he would pull them down, as opposed to if you're playing right-handed, most string bends are the first, second, and third strings, and of course you usually push them up, except sometimes in the G string you might pull down a little bit. So because Albert King played this way, with the strings reversed, he would pull down for string bends and vibratos. So it's possible that had an effect on his tremendous vibrato technique by pulling down, the physical properties of pulling down as opposed to pushing up. And then, of course, we have Jimi Hendrix. Now, what Jimi Hendrix did, Jimi Hendrix took a right-handed Stratocaster like this, flipped it over, but did flip the strings around, and which Albert King did not again. So Jimi Hendrix took a right-handed Strat, flipped it over, low E string on top, high E string on the bottom. Now, two things come into play by stringing the guitar that way. One, you have a little less access or harder access to the higher frets. You know what I mean? Because the cutout is not as deep on the low horn here, or the top horn, I should say. So a little harder to get to the higher frets. But also because of the fact that he restrung it, the strings lengths were changed. In other words, on a regular Stratocaster like this, the high E string is going to run from the nut to the bridge like here, and because he had his flipped around, the high E string was actually where the sixth string would normally be. So the string length from here to the bridge was about, look at that distance, I don't know, maybe 4 inches shorter. So the high E string was shorter, the B string, G string, all the string lengths were shorter, and that could have had an effect on string bending, because tension might be, the tension would probably be different, and could have an effect on string bending and string vibratos and things like that. So again, three left-handed guitar players that played and strung their guitars in a variety of ways, all of them unusual to standard guitar playing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any questions or comments in the comments section below. I'm Dan Beagleman. Have a nice day.